What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, you're not going to believe this one, man. This is what you call having the sheer audacity to flip it around and try to make yourself the victim, right? So, former Baltimore Ravens tight end and Pro Football Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe is being sued by fellow Hall of Famer Brett Favre. Sharpe, along with former NFL punter and current podcast star Pat McAfee, were named in a defamation of character suit by Favre based on things they have allegedly said about him being tied to the Mississippi welfare situation. A Favre spokesperson told DailyMail.com, quote, Shannon Sharpe and Pat McAfee tried to further their careers by making baseless defamatory allegations against Brett Favre. Now, I don't know about Pat McAfee. I don't know how much of a star he was before he began talking about Favre. But Shannon Sharpe don't need you. And I'm not a Shannon Sharpe fan. But that nigga don't need you to further his career. What are you talking about? If anybody that should be suing Shannon Sharpe, it need to be somebody like goddamn, it should be somebody like Kevin Durant. It should be somebody like Kevin Durant or goddamn Russell Westbrook. What the hell are you talking about? Anyway, according to documents regarding the lawsuit, Sharpe called Favre a, quote, sleazeball on FS1 in September while accusing him of stealing $1.1 million in Mississippi welfare funds for speeches he never made. Well, that sounds like a sleazeball. Someone that gets over $1 million in money that they're not entitled to, then agreed to make speeches for the illegal got, and then didn't still make the speeches. Yeah, that sounds like a sleazeball to me. The same documents indicate McAfee allegedly accused Favre of stealing from the poor people of Mississippi. That's what he did. The text messages and the information proves that's what he did. Which is why I don't understand for the life of me. And this proves without a doubt that the media picks and chooses who they want to go after. How the fuck is Kyrie Irving sharing a goddamn link to a 4-year-old movie more egregious and more of a crime to this country than this man stealing, along with his cronies, nearly $80 million in TANF money that's supposed to go to the poorest people in Mississippi? I need someone to try to someone explain that to me. How is Kyrie Irving sharing a link to a movie that was 4 years old, that he never profited off of, that he never created? How is that a bigger crime than Brett Favre and his cronies stealing nearly $80 million in TANF money that's supposed to go to the poorest people in Mississippi? And then they blew it on projects that don't even sometimes finished. And these are millionaires. These men are multi-millionaires. They didn't even need to do this. But anyway, every time his name gets brought up, we have to mention that he tied the hands of the poor people and took money right out of their pockets, McAfee said about Favre, per the report regarding the lawsuit. It's the absolute truth. Now, the article goes on to say it's difficult to prove defamation in court. That's true. It's true. But in some instances, I think defamation is what's going on. Like, Stephen A. Smith is getting closer and closer to committing defamation. The shit with Russell Westbrook, it's even worse. I mean, from what I could tell, Russ may be a person that's passionate. His teammates like him. And even with all of these stories and calling him a vampire, a blood-sucking vampire that sucked the life out of people, none of his teammates have anything bad to say about him. Apparently, the problem was the media criticism was getting to him. And yeah, he probably complained about it, but everybody needs someone to vent to. We get mad when people sneak this on social media. This man Russ had to deal with an unprecedented amount of criticism. No matter what he did, people criticized him on TV. No matter if he played well, they still brought up his flaws. That's bound to get to anybody. Anybody. Like I said before, I'm not trying to make this about Russ and LeBron, but hell, I remember LeBron got it one game this year when it was against the Denver Nuggets, and he had like 8 turnovers that game. It was one of his worst performances as a Laker. He got trashed about it one time, one game, one night, and this motherfucker ran to Instagram, man, how much longer can he disrespect the kid? You can't take one day of criticism, but you want this man, Russell Westbrook, to endure season after season of criticism? So, yeah, that kind of falls closer to defamation of character to me. But it's difficult to prove. Brett Favre, bro, you don't have a case. You are a scumbag. So, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I think what it is with Brett Favre is that he's lost some endorsements. He's lost some long-standing endorsements. And, you know, certain elements have been trying to squash this story. But I'm going to continue to talk about it. Because what he did was a crime. What he and his cronies did was a crime. And they're trying to get away with it. They're trying to get away with it. This thing, look, even if this guy don't go to prison, I want this dastardly deed that he committed to be attached to him like Watergate was to Nixon for the last 20 years of his life. I don't want that ever to go away. I want whenever he does an interview, they bring this up. Because these people need to be held accountable. I'm tired of looking at black athletes. One guy broke a vacuum cleaner and his mug is all over fucking TV and social media like he's a fucking criminal. People have arguments. People do shit. You know what I'm saying? I've had arguments with girlfriends, and I might have thrown a goddamn, a bar of soap or some shit. But I would never think about striking a person. But we get into arguments. That's just normal. I can't help it if you think because I'm black I'm menacing to you. That's your problem. That's your racism. But anyway, that's all I got to say about this, man. You know, I just think it's disgusting what Brett Favre is trying to get away with and having the nerve to try to make himself the victim. That's what gets me. He's the victim.